All right. Okay, so it seems like you guys are joining right now. I'll be starting really shortly. It's already 1, so let me just get this going. Just want to make sure everything's looking good here. Okay. Let's share the screen. Hello, how's it going? Okay. All right, we got a hi. So basically this week's topic, guys, is going to be running multiple rebate offers at once inside one Manychat account. This might seem like, pretty obvious, like, oh, it's not that difficult, but there's a couple little things here and there that you might learn just kind of watching this. And I'll kind of go over my process of doing this. I might not be able to go like perfectly into everything I do, but I go over kind of what you should do. And yeah, so let's kind of get started. So we're gonna just go over the rules right off the bat for kind of the webinar. So if I do unmute you guys, which most likely won't happen just because there's a lot of things I have to cover, so I don't think I'll have the chance to unmute and have like kind of a verbal discussion with somebody. But if I do, just don't share any sensitive information. And that's same for the chat. Like don't put in like, certain things that you don't want others to know because this is recorded and I might read out whatever is said in the chat. Another thing, this will be recorded and there is going to be kind of like a video library. At some point, this will most likely end up on YouTube. I don't think these recordings might not, but like the whole presentation style and me going over it will. I don't know exactly when that'll be, but at some point it will be. So just bear that in mind. And these calls usually last around an hour long. I try to make it like within an hour. Usually I always go a little above. And I don't think this one will be any exception. I think it's going to be, I want to say around an hour, but probably a little bit over. Okay, so that's it more or less for the kind of housekeeping. Oh, actually, Troy won't be able to join us. He said that he was feeling a little under the weather this morning, so I don't expect to see him. Maybe he'll surprise me, but from what he was saying, he's not going to be here. So just bear that in mind. But yeah, he's usually kind of in the sidelines, kind of cheering me on. He's my little cheerleader. He helped me out a little bit, but don't worry, that the presentation should not go down in quality, even though he's not going to be here. Kind of sucks though. Let me put it in full screen because I never do, and I know it's easier for you guys to see kind of what's going on when it's full screen. So any questions before we dive into kind of the main topic, guys? Usually I like to have a little Q&A before we get into the meat of it. So I'm just gonna let you guys kind of make a question if you want. Let you guys type it in. I'll give you guys maybe a minute. And if nothing, then I will carry on. Oops, I didn't mean to jump. Actually, might as well just sit on the slide for a little bit. So yeah, like I said, if you guys have any questions, let me know. And it doesn't necessarily have to be about multiple giveaways or multiple rebates at once. It could be about something else. It could be like, as long as it's somewhat Amazon related, I'd rather not jump into something crazy. But as long as it's Amazon or Manychat related, then I can obviously answer. So I don't see any questions, but I'll just keep an eye on it and I'll just go through the presentation. And if I do see something, I'll kind of jump to it. Okay, guys, so essentially setting up multiple offers inside one Manychat account. I've determined that there's 6 things. Obviously, there could be some small things that you might want to add or do. But here I got 6 things that you're going to want to do. So the first thing you're going to want to do is make sure your Manychat account is kind of set up for success. And I went over this in a previous webinar, and I will have links to that. Where you like how to set up a Manychat account, not necessarily how to set up a Facebook page and then connect it to Manychat, but more or less like how to set up the flows that you're going to want, like the sign up flow, how to set up like some of the flows and folders and all that stuff. And I went over that in quite a bit of detail in that one webinar, so I don't want to reiterate all that. But that's kind of the first thing you want to do is like set up your Manychat account for success. That way you're able to run these long term. Second thing you're going to want to do is understand the rebate automation templates. Now, everybody kind of like, well, not everybody, but there's a lot of people that have different templates, and if you're following somebody else, you might see their kind of rebate automation template. We have our own rebate automation template. Whoever you decide to use, it's fine. Ours are really well built out, especially the ones in beta, which are actually live on the site now. But if you want to use somebody else's template, by no means, like you could definitely do that. As long as you understand maybe a little bit out how to edit certain aspects of that template, so you're able to match what I'm going to say in the next kind of bullets here. So the next thing you're going to want to do, and this is again kind of optional, but fairly important when you're doing multiple offers, in my opinion, is make a conversion event. So this conversion event is something within Manychat that you're able to track when certain users do certain things, or not really certain users, but when everybody goes to a certain point in a flow, you can actually log that as an event and then track how many events happen, in the course of like a month or a week or so on. That way you're able to track how many rebates are being distributed per day. And you're able to see kind of the statistics on that. It's a pretty neat little thing to do. The next thing you want to do is have a Google spreadsheet that tracks the amount of rebates you're doing per kind of offer, right? So if you have 5 offers, you'd have 5 different worksheets, right? You can have one spreadsheet, but then there'd be 5 worksheet tabs, and every tab would represent one product. And then you could see how many, products are being given away per day, how many, products per certain keyword, how many have, are still pending, meaning like they haven't been shipped yet, so on, right? So it's a good idea to have this, and I will have kind of a template spreadsheet, which I do recommend you most likely edit to match what you guys want, like the metrics you guys want to save. But usually the templates are pretty well made out. So the next thing is adding a custom field, and then the bot field's optional, and a condition to stop users from basically checking out with all the offers at once. So you're able to make kind of a custom field and track how many offers somebody has claimed. And then if the condition can stop them if they've claimed the maximum amount. And the maximum amount could be tied to the bot field, or it could just be tied to a straight number that you can edit down the line. I will go over that. I'm going to try to go over that in a live example. Same with the Google spreadsheet in a live example, so I can actually show you guys, okay, this is what you do. This is how you do it. I didn't take screenshots because I was like, man, I'll probably be taking like 10 or 15 screenshots, and it'd be a little easier for me to go over it in video than for me to like talk about it and then have screenshots. At least that's kind of my thought process behind that. So the next thing and last thing is having a rebate giveaway menu. This is one, again, very optional. Most people don't do this, but this is something where you can literally have like a menu, and it's just really, it's just like one flow, and it's a carousel of all the different offers. They click a button and then it just sends them straight to the other flow that you want them to go to. This is not something that's very complicated. And again, I do have a template for that, so you guys can take a look. It's something that can be built out, and I have built it out for some clients to be a little bit more complex, where you can have like points involved. You can have certain other activities that they have to do in order to get different offers. And there's definitely a black and gray zone you can get there with that particular setup, where it's like they have to do something in order to get the offer, or in order to get another offer. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to just check to see if there's any questions. I don't think there is. So that's good. Seeing as if there is none, I'll just carry on, and I'll answer the questions that come up maybe at the end of the presentation. So the first thing we want to do is setting up the Manychat account. Now, again, I'm actually just, I think it might be easier for me. Oops, I didn't mean to click that. It's going to be a little easier for me if I'm able to click this, just so I can give you guys the links inside the chat. And that way you guys can have access to it. So let me just, everyone. Okay. So these links are essentially links to kind of go over the last like not really the last webinar, but I think it was like 3 or 4th from now. Anyways, one of the previous webinars that I've kind of held going over the rebate automation ones. So the rebate automation Seller.Tools flows, and there are multiple different versions of it. There's like the multiple options, PayPal, pick a reward, Venmo. There's Instagram now. I'm eventually going to add SMS. So there's quite a bit of different versions. So obviously you want to pick one that matches you or matches your kind of goals. And then you would edit that template. And essentially in that webinar, whoops, I didn't mean to click. In that webinar, I go into really good detail on how to actually edit these templates to match your product. So I don't want to like kind of bore you with all that, because that's like an hour topic all on its own. And I also have a video here going over it without the webinar, but they're essentially more or less the same, but the webinar might be a little bit on the longer side just because I talked about quite a bit of different things. And then here's access to the beta templates. So again, I have like a Google document with all the different beta flows that I have available. They're actually all able, you can actually find them on the Seller.Tools website right now. The page is just kind of seeing a bit of, I'll just call them glitches a little bit, where like there's like these little images. Anyways, it's not a big deal. The flows are still there, easy to download. So yeah, there's just a little bit of work that needs to get done on the page. Okay, so here's the spreadsheet of what the template looks like. If you haven't seen kind of one of the Seller.Tools rebate automation kind of flows, this is what it more or less looks like. And it might look extremely complex just from this kind of overview right here, but it's really not that complex in terms of editing, because a lot of this is just like you have to put your API key, and then you have to make sure the finding method, which is like you either just put a straight URL, or you can use search find by or something along those lines. You'd have to add additional flows here for that, but more or less you don't need to actually come into Flow Builder and edit a whole lot. It's all preemptive before Flow Builder. So that is it for that. And again, if you really want to go into more in-depth detail on how to edit these flows, I highly recommend you take a look at the links that I sent in the chat, because that will just give you guys way more detail than this little overview video like I just mentioned here. Okay, so adding conditions. Okay, so this one right here, for some reason I said conditions, but adding conversion events. So I do plan on trying to, in this one here, it's pretty simple, but adding a conversion event is really, really like simple. It's just going into the settings and then making an event, and then making sure you put that event inside your rebate automation flows, usually at the tail end. So if I go up here, I know it's really hard to see, but the conversion event would most likely be right here. Or actually, wait, yeah, right around here is where you would want to put it. I know this is like super zoomed out and you guys are like, how does he know? But this is where you would probably want to put the conversion event. I will, later down the line in this kind of webinar, I'll go over where you should put it and I'll mention it again, but you'll be putting it more or less right here. And that conversion event will automatically trigger as soon as the order has been confirmed and verified. And that will just log that like, oh, a rebate has been made. So screenshot wise, this is where essentially this is how you make a conversion event. Again, super, super simple. It's nothing complex. So in the back end of your Manychat account, you go into settings, then you want to go into conversion event, right? It's right under automation on the left-hand side here. And then you're going to want to, let me just move my little camera here. And then you're going to want to click new conversion event. And then you're just going to want to add a title and a description. Description is fairly optional, but the title should definitely match whatever the conversion event is. So in my case, it's usually, rebate giveaway offer. That's what I usually call these conversion events. And again, you can have more than one conversion event. If you want certain conversion events for like sign up flows or people that refer a friend or something like that, by all means do that. I don't typically do that. I usually tend to stay with my rebate conversion event, because I think that's like the most kind of important one. But again, if you want to get more technical and advanced, then you could for sure add other conversion events and log them. And then to put this inside Flow Builder, it's really, really simple. Inside an action node, you just kind of click on the action, and then it'll say log conversion event. You just click that and you'd pick whatever conversion event you want to log. And as soon as a user goes through it, it'll log that conversion event. And that is it for conversion event. Now the Google spreadsheet, this one here is a little bit more advanced, because you actually have to connect your Manychat account to a Google account, and that'll basically let them communicate between each other and pass data along. So essentially, that's kind of the first step, is connecting your Manychat account to Google account. The second step is actually having a spreadsheet, and then making sure it's kind of formatted in a way where Manychat understands how to insert a row, or maybe update a row, or even get a row value from your spreadsheet. Those are all kind of advanced features, but the one that we're most likely going to be using is insert a row and update a row. We're not really going to be using get a row value, even though there are some use cases for us sellers, but I'm not going to be covering that in this presentation. So the third thing you're going to want to do is then confirm, then you're going to want to add the 2 Google action steps. There's 2 in my opinion. You can, well, probably 3 inside the rebate automation flows inside Seller.Tools. And I do plan on doing a live example. Hopefully, I want to say a little bit in the next in the next 2 or 3 presentations, I'll do a live example and go over that, how to do that with you guys. So that way you guys aren't too confused. Just me talking is not going to be too clear on how to do that. But essentially, it's right after you've confirmed the order is, it's actually right where the conversion event is actually too. But right after that, there's like kind of an action node, and that's where you would want to insert the information, right? Insert all that rebate information, the confirmation number, all that stuff. And then you're going to want to make another one where it's update a row. And you're going to want to do that when the order's been shipped. And then you could say how much it's been rebated for, and if it's been, sent, which would just be yes. And the actual, spreadsheet link, I'll go over this just slightly. This is what the template spreadsheet link will look like. So I'll give you that to you guys as well right now. If you guys want to check it out, you can. Let me just throw that in the chat. Okay, so let me just kind of go over this a little bit and then I'll carry on. So we have their full name, we get their email, we get their rebate preference, we get their buying method. Again, this is something that is optional. You don't have to actually put down their buying method. And if you do want to put down their buying method, you'll have to make a custom field, which I will get into how to do these things later down the line. The keyword tracker. So this is where you can actually put a keyword wherever you like. If they're, let's say you're doing search, find, buy, and you're doing 3 different keywords and you want to track how many keywords you're doing, this is a good way to do that because you'll see all of the data. Like, let's say you had 5 names here. You'd see, okay, this person bought from this keyword, this person bought from this one, this is this is this. And then you're like, okay, I'm able to kind of figure that out. The second thing is the timestamp. And again, you have to make the actual custom field for this because it's not inside the template by default. I might put them in the template just because it doesn't really affect anything negatively. I just don't want to overload the template by default with all this kind of advanced stuff. I wanted to keep the templates as easy as possible for anybody to come in, edit it, and use it. I didn't want to add in all this extra stuff, which I normally do just by default. But when speaking to Troy and stuff, he wanted to make sure that these were very simple and easy templates for everybody to use. The next thing here is Amazon purchase confirmation. So this is just their order number. Nothing too complicated there. And then this right here, I'm just gonna put this like this. This right here would do after it's been shipped. So as soon as the order's been shipped out, usually you'll get the amount and then you can get sent rebate, and this just be like a yes or no type of thing. And this is just after the order's been shipped, or if it's been canceled, then you can say no, and then it'll go into red like this. Because there's a little bit of logic here that I initially put in. So an example of that would be if there's 2 fields that are same, it'll go orange to let you know that somebody's using the same email, which is technically impossible with the blacklist enabled. But the spreadsheet is kind of an extra protection where you can see, okay, this guy's clearly doing something funny here. Okay, now let's go into the next one, which is adding kind of a maximum, like a limiter to stop people from claiming the maximum amount of offers. So you can put whatever number you want as the maximum amount. I put 3 as default, but you could put, again, whatever you'd like. And this basically just stops people from, if you were to give away, let's say 5 products at once, or maybe 2 products here, and then 3 months down the line, you're giving away another 2, and you only want them to be able to purchase 3 rebate offers out in total, then this is a way you're going to do this, is adding a custom field, and then you're going to have to add a condition at the start of every single rebate automation flow. And essentially this condition is going to check how many offers they have claimed. And at the end, or more or less at the end, but it's funny because there's this one action note I'm thinking, and it happens a couple different times, but right at after the order's been confirmed, you want to tick up the number of offers claimed. And that's how you're able to figure out how many offers they've claimed, and the condition stops people that have claimed a certain amount of offers. I'm hoping that made sense. Again, I do have a template to kind of go over this a little bit with my rebate giveaway menu. So that's the kind of next topic, is the rebate giveaway menu. And this one right here, guys, is just, again, it's more or less a carousel. I'll go into it and I'll show you guys what it looks like, but essentially it's more or less a carousel, and then they could just kind of swipe, if they're on their phone anyways, they can swipe to see what other offers they can have. And then when they click a button, it then just sends them to the flow where they get to go and go through the process of claiming that offer. And this is where you can determine, you can do some pretty advanced things, guys, right, with this menu. By default, it's not there to do all the advanced things, so you have to add on. So if you're not 100% comfortable with Manychat and you want to do some of these advanced things, I'd highly recommend you go check out the experts tab in Seller.Tools, and then pick one of the kind of experts down there, and they'll be able to help you kind of with these advanced things, just because they do understand Manychat really, really well. But essentially you can gamify things, right? You can have it so it's like, if they do act like they get X points for doing certain activities, and with those points, then they can unlock other offers. And that's one really advanced way of using kind of rebates, or at least this menu flow. Okay, guys, that was a lot. So it's only 10-20 minutes. I feel like it's been a little longer, but now let's go into my examples that I have pulled up here. So I think my first example that I wanted to go over was actually connecting. So actually, let me just go to the proper slide. Okay, yeah, so we're in the Google. So how we actually connect a Google account to your Manychat account, really, really simple, guys. So if you're within, your Manychat account, you're going to go into settings, right? So let's just pretend where it flows for a second. So if you're within the backend of Manychat, you go into settings, then you have to scroll down slightly into extensions, and then you're going to want integrations, and then I guess in this case we scroll up again, and then right here, if it's not already there, then you're going to want to click connect, and it's really simple. You just pick the Google account, and you say like give permissions, and then bam, it's connected, and this is what it should look like. You'll have the email that it's connected to right here, and then that's how you make sure that, okay, now we have the integration working. So that's the first thing. The second thing, let me just get a reminder here. Okay, yeah, so we need a spreadsheet. This is the spreadsheet. You guys have access to it. The third thing we need now is to actually put this inside a Manychat account or inside a rebate giveaway flow. So in this case, guys, I actually made kind of these two example test flows for you guys before kind of jumping into this call. So we're just going to go into this one as an example. And I'm not going to go over how to edit every single thing here. I'm going to go over how to edit the Google spreadsheet first, and then I'll go into the other things that I had spoken about previously. So when you jump into the flow, you're going to want to hit edit, and then you're going to want to zoom in pretty much right at the middle, like I was saying. There's this node right here. This is the one that I was pointing out in that screenshot, that like huge screenshot. This is the one right here where you would want to add, see it says an ideal place to put your insert a row right here. And this is actually the perfect place to put your insert a row, the conversion event, as well as the custom field that tracks how many offers they've claimed. So this is where you'd put those three things right here, guys. This is it. So where this is found, again, is just right after that you've asked for their order number and it's been verified, right? So it goes through kind of all these different conditions, checks to make sure that they ordered the right ASIN, checks to make sure they haven't ordered the offer already. Then this is a check valve essentially, so it gives them a tag. So once they get this tag right here, they can't jump into another offer until they've received their first rebate. But yeah, you're going to want to put the action right here. So I'll just put in, for now, I'll do the conversion event first, even though I kind of already went into a live example. So you'd log a conversion event, you'd find the right one. So purchase rebate giveaway offer, that's usually what I use. And again, you can name yours whatever you'd like. And then the next thing we're going to do is Google spreadsheet action. So now I'm going to click insert a row. Okay, actually, let me go a little slower there because I did that a little. I think I went a little faster. So we would click actions. You just kind of scroll down. It doesn't take too long. And then you're going to look for kind of the Google spreadsheet actions. It's kind of neat. It's got a little logo here. So it kind of pops out. Then once you get the action right here, you're going to click select an action. And there are three actions by default. There's insert a row, get row value, update a row. The only two that we're going to be using is insert and update. There are a lot of use cases for get a row value. And again, I won't be covering that, but these two are the ones we're going to be using just because we want to insert the information into a spreadsheet, and then we might want to update that information later down when the order gets shipped. So then we can mark down how much it's been rebated for, and if it's been rebated, yes or no type of scenario. So hit insert a row. Now it's going to ask us for the spreadsheet, then the worksheet. So we need to find the spreadsheet. So usually I'll just type in the spreadsheet. So in my case, I named it brand name Seller.Tools automation spreadsheet. Now, you would most likely name it something different. Like once you have access to this spreadsheet, what you'll do is you hit file, oops, then you would go make a copy, and then you would probably, change the instead of branded name, you change this to match your brand, whatever that may be. And then that's the spreadsheet you're going to want to pick. Same with the product name. Make sure you change the essentially spreadsheet and the worksheet, which is like these little tabs right here are called worksheets. Make sure you change these before you do the edits in the spread in the Manychat, because if you integrate all the kind of spreadsheet stuff first inside Manychat and then you change the information like the spreadsheet name and the worksheet, Manychat won't be able to find where it needs to go again. So then you have to relink it. So it's like working twice for no reason really. But again, this is just an example. So obviously I'm just going to pick this. Then you'd pick the right worksheet. So in my case, it's again, just an example. And if you needed more than one worksheet, all you'd have to do is you'd right click it here and then you just hit duplicate. Then you'd remove any of the data if there was any, and then match whatever product name that you're trying to do. Okay, I know I'm jumping back and forth a lot, and it might be hard to follow, but I'm hoping that this is all kind of making sense. So the next thing we want to do is match all the data that we can. So we are going to want to put full name, and then we're going to want to put email. Usually it's, I think, customer, but you can just put email because I do save it on a system field as well. So you can either put the custom field or the system field here. It doesn't actually make that much of a difference. So in my case, I'll just put the system field because I know it'll work, but you could theoretically put the custom field that maps out the email as well if you want to. The rebate preference. So again, if you were using, let's say, pick a reward, you wouldn't need to put down the rebate preference because you know it's going to be pick a reward. In this case, I'm using the options variation, meaning like they can pick what rebate preference they want. So that's why I got the column here. So I believe it's called rebate preference right here. So see how it says rebate / payment preference. You do have to kind of know what to map out a little bit. And obviously this helps that I'm the one that made the template, so I kind of know everything. But yeah, just try to look at what this is named, and then chances are it's probably named the same inside Manychat. Buying method. Now this is something that, again, if you wanted to track the buying method, so if you were doing search, find, buy, or you were doing custom URLs, or you're doing something else, then you can track that. You'd have to make the custom field for that and then map it out further down the flow. But this one right here, in this particular circumstance, we're not actually tracking the buying method. So I'm going to ignore that. The keyword tracker. Now we're not actually tracking that in this particular circumstance just because it's default, but we're going to put the keyword tracker anyways. So let me put this. It's called Seller.Tools. I have quite a few here. Let's just go tracker. Okay, so yeah, it's ST keyword tracker. That's the one I use for the add-on flows. And again, if you're not sure what the add-on flows are, they're just like add-ons to the rebate automation flows where you can add either search, find, buy, or laundering your links, which was the last kind of webinar I went over. And the next is a timestamp. Now, by default, there is no custom field for a timestamp, but I'll actually show you guys how to make a timestamp so you guys could track this if you want. But for now, I don't actually necessarily have that. I mean, I do have it, but I'll show you guys how to make it before I put this in. And then the other one is Amazon confirmation. So this one here is just confirming the order. So I'm trying to think of what it's called. There's so many of them. I believe it's called product name S.T rebate order. No, I could be wrong here. Let me just confirm that that's what it is. I think I might be wrong there, but let's just find out. And this is how you find out too. If you're not sure how to like find out what fields to map, you just have to find the field. So to find the field is, I think I went a little bit too far. It's right here. So to find it, it is S.T rebate order ID. Boom. So we're going to grab that. And then we're going to put that right over here. And after this, I'll do the timestamp one. And then I'll talk about the other two, which are right below here. These two right here, you don't have to put that in this particular place just because you're not actually going to have that information because it's going to come once the order's been shipped, right? It's going to come with the amount. And then whether or not it's been shipped, you can have another custom field to say that. You don't actually necessarily have to say that because if there's an amount, you'll notice that like, okay, it's been sent, obviously. So let's go over the timestamp. So to create a timestamp, guys, it's really simple. You would just go into conversion event. So set custom field. So we hit that. And you can do this in the settings as well, but I usually just do it in Flow Builder and then I add the description. So what we want to do is we'll make a purchase. I'll just copy this without the two. So copy that, put the P. So we would just like copy it like this, and then you'd click create event. And then you want to, the type you want to put in is time, date and time. And then you could of course add like a description. So for some reason it's not loading. Okay, there we go. So I'll just say keeping track of time, user, customers, but it's not, it's taking forever to load. Bot rebate. Okay. And of course, if you guys want to change it to match your goals, you could say that. But that is essentially it for the timestamp. So it created the timestamp, I believe. I don't know if it's the internet something on. Okay, so let's just time. So we made the purchase timestamp right here. So we're just going to use that one. Whoops. Okay, of course it made a misclick here. So purchase timestamp. And you could see that you're using the right one because it's got a little clock here, which means that it's a timestamp. Like it's that's the type that it's capturing. And then the operation type is set to the date and time of action. So that way it's like whenever they get to this action, that's the time that's recorded. So we put that. And then what you want to make sure you do, this is really important. You want to make sure you grab this and you put it on top of the insert a row action, because if you put it below, it's not actually going to capture it at the proper time, because the way it works is it does things in sequential. It does this one first, like the add a tag, then it does conversion log event, then it adds value to that custom field, which is just the timestamp, and then it does the Google Sheet action. So just keep that in mind that you want to be doing it one at a time, and you need to make sure that this is above the spreadsheet one. These ones here technically don't matter. Like you could have the action like this all the way below and it wouldn't actually make a difference. But this one, the orientation of these two do matter. Okay, so that is it for kind of putting in the, actually, let me see. I think there was a couple things I wanted to mention here. So yeah, if you wanted to track the buying method, guys, let me just go over this just a little bit and then I'll move forward here. If you wanted to track the buying method, all you'd have to do is, seeing as if this buying method is just a custom link, you'd go like this. You'd make this and then you go action. And then you would create a custom, oh, I don't know why, but it closed out on me. Okay, so you would make a custom field right here. So you go set custom field, and then you would go buying method. It won't come up like this by default for you guys because you'd have to make it. But again, it's just how I made the other timestamp. It's just like you type in what you want, you create the thing, you give it a description. And in this case, it would be a text. So you click this one. So you make buying method, and then you're going to want to give it a value. So in my case, I'll just be typing in custom URL. That's essentially the buying method that this is using by default. But again, if you were using search find buy, then you would put like SFB, or if you're using laundering links or something like that, then you'll put in whatever buying method you're using. This is just an additional thing. And again, if you don't want to track this, it's not a big deal. You don't have to. And then all you would do is just link it like that. And that is it there. You could also put this theoretically at the tail end right over here, or right here, and make sure that it's like the timestamp is just a little bit above. The reason why I put it over here is just because if you're doing multiple buying methods, right? Let's say you're doing search find buy and custom URL, you want to make sure that you're able to track whatever one the user is doing, because if you put it all the way over here, then you wouldn't know. I'm hoping that all made a good amount of sense. So the next thing, okay, yeah, so we put in, now we're going to put one in for when the order's been shipped. So it's actually pretty easy when the order's been shipped. You'd want to put it probably right here, would be your best bet. Theoretically, you could put it over here as well, but actually, yeah, let's, you could also put it like, there's a couple options here. You could put it theoretically around here, or you could put it right over here when they actually claim, or they make their gift card. There's not a really wrong answer to put it somewhere. I would probably, if I was you guys, I'd probably put it above once they've claimed their offers. I'd probably put it right over here, in all honesty. So once they actually, that their orders A has been shipped and they just made their gift card, that's when it tells you, okay, the gift card's been made. This is how much was rebated. So what you're going to want to do is you want to click actions, just like we did previously, and you want to find Google Spreadsheet actions. And then this time, guys, we're going to be doing update a row. So in this one, you're still going to have to find the same spreadsheet and worksheet. So you need to make sure you have those two things. So in my case, it's this one right here. And then the worksheet is right here. And then you're going to have a lookup column and a lookup value. So the thing you're going to be looking up, the way I do this is either through email or first name. I usually like to do full name, full name. So I do full name, just like this. And it has to be the system field, guys. Okay, and then you're going to want to match like the information. Sometimes this will insert a row. So what I do to try to prevent that is I go full name here, and then I'll go rebate amount. So I believe that's retail something something. I believe this is it right here, but I could be wrong, so I'll make sure to double check that. And then rebate has been sent. So this one right here, you're gonna again have to make a custom field for this. I believe I already have mine kind of made here. I can go, I think it's called rebate sent. Yeah, see how it's right here? And then I would just link that there. Now to do it, again, to make the custom field is just like how I did it with the other kind of two examples, but you just go here, create a custom field, right? So if you don't already have the rebate sent custom field made, you'd make one. But in my case, I already do have one, so I don't see the point in making another one. But again, you just make it and then you select it here. And then in this case, I will say yes, right? And then yes just stands for like it's been sent out. So what I'll do is I need to put it above the Google action. So right there, just like that. And that is essentially it. Actually, I said I would check the retail price. So to check the retail price, guys, it's actually pretty simple. You just go over here where the gift cards are made, right? This action step right here. And then you'll look up the retail price. Oh, it's right here. So yeah, this is the right one. I mean, I'll just copy it just to make sure because I don't want to make any mistakes here. And then we'll do update a row. Okay. So here it is right over. Oh, see, I did get it wrong. Or no, I didn't. Oh, I got it right. Okay, so I got it right. That's good. Awesome. So that would be it that you have to do here. And you can also do the same thing. And I don't think I'm going to do it just because I don't want to be ridiculous on time here. But you can also do this right over here when, well, actually, wait a second. Right over here, if the order's been canceled, you can just update a Google spreadsheet row right here and just say rebate has not been sent, like a no instead of yes. That way you know that these people have canceled their order. And that way you're able to determine the people that have canceled or did any of that kind of stuff. Just kind of have a good spreadsheet tracking all kinds of information. Now, another thing I'll say just about the spreadsheet, and then I want to move on, is you guys can add columns here, guys. Like, keep in mind, these are templates, and the whole point of a template is for you guys to take them and then morph it into whatever you guys want it to be. So I try to make this as friendly as possible. I know that this stuff might be extremely advanced for some, and then maybe it's not that advanced for others, but take like kind of the template and then morph it into whatever you need. So if you want to track additional information, or you want to add like phone number here, or you want to add something else, by all means add that. So you can easily do that by just selecting the column and then going, insert to the left, insert to the right, and then it'll insert another column. Then you would put whatever information you're trying to track at the header here, and then match that inside your Manychat account. And then the Manychat will just transfer all that data as long as it's put inside a custom field. It has to be a custom field, guys. You can't take a bot field and then put the value inside a spreadsheet row. I'm hoping that all made sense. Again, if this is all like really, really advanced stuff and you guys are kind of like a little bit, might be going over your head, I would highly recommend just going to the Seller.Tools website and going to the expert tabs and then hiring one of the experts there. This is all stuff that I'm sure that they'll be able to do and incorporate into your rebate automations. Okay, I think I've explained the spreadsheet one really well. At least I'm hoping. Before I get into the next one, I see that there are some chats here, so I'm going to try to go over this a little bit. You ever have gotten people who claim that they haven't entered the previous one when the bot tells them that they've hit the maximum? I'm sure I have. I don't particularly read every single message I get from everybody in the Manychat. Like, obviously there's live chat people that kind of deal with that. But No, I haven't seen that too often. I know that they're like, oh, I want more offers, or they'll do that for sure. And if you're able to give them a way to get more offers, right? Meaning you tell them to go do certain activities, chances are they're going to do it, and then they're going to come back and then claim that offer. That's one of the ways I would definitely advise using the menu. But just using the menu normally is fine too. Um, yeah, I haven't had too many issues of people saying that they've gotten to the maximum amount of rebates that they can claim. So I think that answers that one. Why might you want to limit the amount of rebates a single person? Okay, that's a good question. So essentially, you would want to maximize how many people can claim one, just because you want to kind of diversify your kind of individuals buying certain products from a single brand, right? You don't want the same repeat buyers buying every single product in a launch, and then Amazon being able to kind of see that. So that's why you kind of want new blood coming in all the time, and you want to maximize, you want to have a maximizer so that way they can't take every single offer. Usually, again, it's back in the day, like I just had it as 3, and that's usually the default is I put it to 3, so that way somebody can only claim 3 offers from an individual brand, or in this case, a Manychat page. But usually, in one Manychat page is linked to one brand, and that's usually how it works. So that's the main reason why you would want to essentially limit how many times one person can claim single offers, is just to make sure that you're not using the same people for every single launch. And then again, this is all theoretical, that like Amazon's watching kind of thing, and you just want to make sure that they're not seeing this. And that's essentially it. Because a lot of the initial reviews will usually come from rebates, even though you're not enticing them, you're just giving them a good user experience. Hopefully they enjoy the product, and then they'll reciprocate that by giving a good review. And if you constantly use the same people and they constantly give you reviews, and those are the first few reviews you're getting every single time, it could, and I can't guarantee, or I don't know for sure, but it could trigger something in Amazon for them to maybe investigate, or just flag their algorithm and then hit you with the suspension or something along those lines. So it's just to mitigate that. Whether or not they do that, again, is very debatable, and I can't prove or disprove it. So, okay, for ranking, how effective are add to carts compared to full price buys? Okay, so add to carts are still pretty good, but I'm not gonna pretend like full purchases they weigh so much more than add to carts, because add to carts, they don't really give you like a higher necessarily conversion rate. I know that they do play a little bit into conversion rate, but they could, I think Amazon's algorithm is played, so if you have too many add to carts to like a purchase ratio, they won't actually, it won't really benefit your rankings. So there is kind of a sweet spot where you're doing a good amount of rebates and you're doing a good amount of add to carts. If you're able to encompass those two things together, then you'll probably rank much more efficiently than if you were to just do add to carts or just do rebates. But it's a lot easier to just do rebates than it is to do, both of these things. And add to carts at scale is really difficult unless you have like some really advanced methods of doing add to carts, because the whole spin the wheel, and then they might get a discount, can turn people off. So like I've seen this before, where some people would have, like, they would run a lot of traffic to their Manychat flows, and they were doing these kind of spin the wheel offers, and essentially people wouldn't get what they wanted, or they gave coupon codes that didn't work, or they gave a certain coupon code and say, oh, you might have 100% off, but really it was like 30% or something like that. People usually can get angry and they might report your page. I've seen that happen, where pages would get banned after running those kind of flows. And the only kind of thing that I could think of was because the flows were TOS compliant, but it was just like, you get reported enough, it doesn't matter if they're TOS compliant, Facebook will remove it. So it is a little sketchy to do add to carts through kind of Facebook ads. I'm hoping I answered that one properly. So I use to currently subscription. That works. Yeah, that'll definitely work. Okay, guys. So I think I've answered all the questions. Let's go into setting up kind of the essentially limiter that'll stop people from claiming a certain amount of offers. Now, by default, guys, you'd have to technically make this. Again, it's not inside the rebate automation flows, and for good reason, because when me and Troy spoke a long time ago, he didn't want me to go all out with my rebate automation flows, because I showed him some of the flows that I've made, and they're literally 20 flows long, and I didn't. It's easy for me to edit them because I made them, and I have it made in a certain way, but I didn't want to overwhelm somebody that's brand new and that doesn't know Manychat well, and they see 20 flows and they're like, my God, this is ridiculous. And then they just get kind of scared off. So I made it so the Seller.Tools flows are more or less the way they've been made previously, but a little more advanced, but also still simple enough to just edit, right? So there wasn't much needing for edits. And that's why I couldn't include things like having this limiter or maximum offers that can be claimed. So just note that again, like I can't just put all of the things I talk about inside a template because it just adds more and more and more for you guys to edit. And these might not be important things for you, but it might be important. So it's just that's why some of it won't be necessarily inside by default. One thing you can do in order not to make the custom fields yourself, you can actually install the rebate giveaway menu, and the custom field and the bot field will actually come with it, as well as a condition. And I'll go over this really soon. And essentially that'll make it super, super easy for you guys to just copy paste it into the rebate flows. Okay, so let's go into the actual example of that right now. So this is the rebate giveaway menu right here. And I'm just going to duplicate the page. But what you would do is you would hit edit. And this right here, guys, when you do install it, it's going to come with a bot field, which is called maximum rebate claims. I didn't word that nicely, but maybe I'll reword that someday. But anyways, what that stands for is this is the number of rebates people can claim. The number, they can't claim more than this number essentially, because if they have that number, if it's equal to this, and they go down here and it says, sorry, looks like you've already participated in the maximum amount of rebate offers, right? It just gives them a little sorry message. And again, you can change this message to match like, sorry, you've claimed the maximum amount, but if you want to participate in another offer, you got to do XYZ. And then once they do that thing, then you just do like -1 offer, and then they can claim one of the other offers. So there's, again, some more advanced stuff you can do there, but just by default, this is how it works. So you can change this by going into the settings, and then you would go into the fields, and then you go bot fields, and I'm just going to write rebate. So, maximum rebate claims, and you'll see right here by default it's 3. But again, if you wanted to change that to 1 or 2 or 17, whatever you want to do, then you can change that. I'm just going to keep it to 3 just the time being. Okay, so the next, what I wanted to show you guys is there is 2 things you guys need to do to make these work for you. The first thing is you need to make the custom fields and the bot fields. And then you need to make that condition similar to right here. This is the condition you literally need. So if you download this template, you could just literally go like this. You click it, you go Control-C, and then you would go inside your rebate flow, which is this one in my particular example. Once it loads, I'll show you. So at the start of the flow, we're going to go Control-V, and then it's going to appear right here. Boom, there's our condition. And what we're going to do is when they click, yes, I'm ready, we're actually going to go into this condition. If they haven't hit the maximum amount of offers, then they'll continue along like nothing happened. And if they have clicked the maximum amount of offers, then this is where you would most likely, I can copy this message right here. I just did Control-C, Control-V there, so there's nothing fancy there. And then you just link that like that. And you can customize this message to match your goals as well, so that's something you can do. And then this will stop people from getting more than one offer, essentially, from like not more than one offer, but more than the maximum amount of offers you want to offer somebody inside your kind of Manychat flow or Manychat account. Now, in order, because that's the first, but like that's kind of the first part. The second part, you need to actually track how many offers they're claiming. So right over where we put the Google insert a row is the same place we want to put the custom field, which is increasing the offers that they've claimed by 1. So we're going to go into, okay, I feel like I'm butchering it a little bit. Okay, so we're going to go inside this action right here. Again, this is the same one with the Google spreadsheet insert a row. So this is the one that's pretty much exactly right after they've like you've confirmed that they've ordered the product. It's a right product in the right kind of a good order number with the right product bot associated with that order number. Little tongue twister. Okay, so now you'd click set custom field. You need to use the proper one, which is, I believe it's called like rebate claims, something. I'll just write in claims. So yeah, it's called rebate giveaway times claimed. That's the custom field that I use. So you'd click that, and it's captured by a number, by the way. So if you do create your own, just put it so it's the type is number. And then you want to go operation type, and you go increase, and you're going to want to increase it by 1. And where this is, like in terms of like if it's at the bottom or at the top or in the middle, it doesn't actually matter. But that's how you track, and you're going to want to do that for every single rebate automation template that you or flow that you use for your products, and that will kind of keep track of how many times somebody's claimed an offer. So if they've claimed one offer, it'll go up by 1. And if they've claimed their second, then it goes up by another 1. So that's 2. And then when they claim their third, then it's 3. And then they'll start getting that message saying that they've claimed all the offers that they can on that specific account. And then you'd hit save. And that is, I think that's all I want to go through. Yeah, so I went over that. I did go over the menu. Actually, I didn't go over the menu. Let's go over the menu a little bit, because I know I just covered the custom field here. So the menu itself, guys, it's really, really simple. This is really nothing advanced. Like I tried keeping it fairly bare bones, just so it's easy for you guys to understand and easy for you guys to edit. So this is the carousel. By default, there's 5 different products that they can pick from. And again, if you only have 2, then you would just remove these other 3. And how you would do that is very simple. You just would click kind of the action or the message node here, and you would go to the side. Whoops, it's not letting me. Okay, so you would go to the side, and once you're at the last message or the last kind of picture one, you'll see a little plus, and that means you're at the last one. You'll just click this little X button, right? You'll click delete the card. See how it deleted it? Oh, you've deleted it. And you do that to the other ones as well if those are the ones you want to delete. Now, what you want to do to the first one to actually edit it to match your product, you want to change whatever your product name is. You'd add that right here. Then you're obviously going to want to change the picture. And that's another easy process. You just click it, and then it'll come up with like something like this. And then you pick whatever image you want. Obviously, it usually should encompass your main image on your product detail page, and then you match your product name. And if you want, you can update the text up here and down there as well, but I usually don't. But again, this can match your branding, so you can obviously have a little fun there. And then the last thing you want to do is actually update the flow that this goes to. By default, it actually goes to itself, so it's like kind of on a loop. But what you want to do is you would want to link this to the proper flow. So let me show you what you do. So let's just go with my example here. So you'd actually want to link it to, let's just pretend like this is my flow, my offer that I'm doing. I would want to click that, and then bam, now it's linking back towards the offer that I'm presenting. And you do that for flow 2, 3, 4, as many offers as you have. Again, in this case, I have 4, but I'm not going to do all 4 just because I only have the one example. But if you only had, 2, then you could just remove these other 2. If you have 3, then you remove the first 2, and then that's that. And that is essentially it for the editing process here. If you want to change the maximum amount of rebates that they can claim, the good news is if you use a bot field like I do, you can literally change that on a global level. So you don't have to go into every single individual flow and then change every single little condition right here. That's why I put it into a bot field, so that way you don't have to redo all this stuff and go through every single flow and kind of redo that, because it would be kind of a pain. But again, if you don't want to do a bot field and you just want to have a custom field and then put your own number, because you know for a fact it's always going to be 3 and you're never going to change your mind, then you don't technically need the bot field there. Okay, once you've made the changes, then you're going to want to just hit publish, and that is it. You can have different keyword triggers here, meaning you can actually have a keyword that you could tell people. Let's say you were doing this through Instagram, for example, or maybe not Instagram. Let's say you had some type of outside influence, and you're saying, hey, if you want to see our rebate giveaway, if you want to see our different rebates offers, then just type in rebate offer inside our bot or in Messenger, and then the menu will come up. You can do that. And this is a really, 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 really good flow to have at the tail end of your sign-up flows, right? So if you have a sign-up flow, you can have like a time delay after they've signed up. This is usually what I do. I have like a time delay for, I think it's like 2 to 3 hours. Anyways, it's a couple hours. And then it links to the menu flow so that then they can pick their own offer after they've signed up, because you're still within the 24-hour rule. So you don't actually have to worry about that. And then they get to pick their own offer. And after they offer, hopefully they get the refer a friend. And then when they refer somebody, then they go through the sign up flow. And then it's kind of like an evergreen process. Or at least that's the goal of it. Okay. I know I rambled off for quite a while there, guys. I'm hoping that everything makes sense. That is pretty much it. I feel like I've covered everything. If you feel like I've missed something, just put in a question. I'm going to answer some of the questions right now. Is the maximum and offers reset after a few days, or do we need to change it manually? No, this is something that doesn't reset at all. This is something that's static there. So essentially, the times that they claim, once they claim an offer, it's saved onto a custom field, and that offer won't change, or that custom field will not change unless they go through another offer, or you change it manually, or you have a flow that like says deduct one so that they can go through it again or something along those lines. But it does not change or reset at any time. So let's say they bought product A, and then okay, let's say they bought product A, B, and C, and they're trying to get product D like 9 months later. They won't be able to, because they'll still have them kind of restricted. That is something that I have done in the future, where like, let's say the page has been around for a long time and we're like, a lot of people are at, let's say they've claimed their 3 offers. You just set it to 4, and now it's increased the number by 1. So those people can come back in, or the people that have 3, you can just do a utility flow broadcast to minus it by 1 so that they can participate in another offer. I'm hoping that made sense. Okay, so that's that one. What are some of the tasks you want somebody to? Okay, so I'll answer that, but I'll answer that really soon. But some of the things you can do is just like, for them to win points, like they can leave a review on your Facebook page. They can do other kind of activities. Those kind of activities is something simple. I think that's all the questions. So I think that's it, guys. Thanks for coming. I'm not going to end the call. Like, I'm not going to end the call, but I'm going to essentially stop the recording. Let me just, I'm trying to find the settings. I always have a hell of a time with this too. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Or no, let's pause sharing. Okay, here it is. Pause recording.